Episode 1 of Kaiju number 8 begins with a kaiju running amok in Yokohama's several wards. The city's emergency kaiju alert system goes into effect, and several officials direct the populace to secure areas so they can avoid the kaiju's fury. The military officials have a few back-and-forth conversations with us in the interim. They talk about the estimated paths and body sizes of the kaiju. Many helicopters show up and attempt to draw the kaiju's attention by aiming their weapons at it. We find out the Defense Corps' 3rd Division will destroy the kaiju through a conversation among the locals. We then cut away to multiple members of the 3rd Division showing up on the scene. The kaiju are defeated by the troops of the 3rd Division under the leadership of Mina Ashiro. Next, we see a guy and his friends at a distance away, studying the kaiju's remnants. Kafka is informed by one of his buddies that it is time to go tidy up that kaiju's territory. Subsequently, we witness Mina and her companions strolling along a route as many people commend them for their bravery. A news reporter that Kafka runs into doesn't give him any attention. After some time, Kafka finds the kaiju and goes about his cleanup work. In the process, he tells the audience that in contrast to the soldiers of the 3rd Division, cleanup crews don't get much, if any, recognition. Kafka witnesses someone picking up a certain kaiju organ off the ground after giving them a sample of the monster. Though it's too late, Kafka orders his ally to cease. Kafka's ally is hurt as the organ explodes and its corrosive blood falls on him. Kafka goes to see his ally and tends to his flesh wound. He doubts that he and his supporters will complete the task in a week. Then, Kafka receives the dismal news that he has to report for intestinal duty. Subsequently, we find Kafka lying in bed, feeling resentful of his intestinal duties that day. Then, he notices something on television. The news program. The news anchor emphasizes Mina's accomplishments. We see a flashback scene with a young Mina and Kafka while it's doing that. In it, Kafka informs Mina that he intends to eradicate all kaiju with her help. Kafka turns off his television. He considers the worth of his existing position to both society and himself. In the morning, Kafka gets back together with his colleagues. Reno Ichikawa, a recruit hoping to join the Defense Force, is presented to him by them. Reno is informed by Toku, the ally who first introduced him to Kafka, that Kafka had similar objectives but gave up. When Reno asks Kafka about it, he explains his reasons for giving up on the dream. Reno walks to the changing room after declaring he won't give up. Everyone shows up at the kaiju cleanup location later. They are given varied tasks by their boss. The commander believes Kafka and Reno have to take care of the intestinal responsibility. Despite Kafka's complaints to the commander, he departs to complete the assignment. If Kafka had passed the Defense Force's test, the commander believes he would have been a fantastic member. Later, Kafka and Reno go to unwind at a park. Kafka gives Reno some tools to assist him deal with the unpleasant side effects of their profession. Later, Kafka's colleagues say goodbye to him and go to their homes. Kafka is relieved to have finished his intestinal-focused task. Then Reno shows up and expresses gratitude to Kafka for his help. Reno informs Kafka that the age criteria for Defense Force applications have been increased before he leaves. He claims that a lot of today's youth are uninterested in working. Kafka gives Reno credit for alerting him. A Yoju emerges and makes an effort to devour Reno before he departs. Luckily, Reno is kept from turning into Yoju chowder by Kafka. Because he doesn't want Reno to die and never realize his ambition, Kafka orders him to return home. He summons the Yoju and the beast and he engages in a furious pursuit. Kafka leaps through a window and then a flashback opens. It shows Mina with a youthful Kafka. According to Kafka, a kaiju destroyed their homes and schools. He's also disappointed that he didn't finish the video game Gurumon. Mina informs Kafka that she is saddened by the death of her calico cat Miko, but she is perplexed by his Gurumon answer. The two swear to join the Defense Force and destroy the kaiju. After that, we go back to the present. When Kafka attempts to resist the Yoju, it overwhelms him. Reno shows in and saves Kafka before the beast consumes him. Kafka is informed by Reno that he requested the firearm he is holding. Why Reno didn't run away from home baffles Kafka. According to Reno, a member of the Defense Corps would never leave someone in danger. Kafka cries as he muses on his mistakes. A white tiger shows up and attacks the Yoju before it harms Reno. Abruptly, many bullets are fired, killing the Yoju. As Kafka looks to the side, she sees Mina and her allies in the vicinity. Igarashi and Takaragi, two comrades, are given the task of taking care of Kafka and Reno by Mina. She and the others want to search the region for additional Yoju in the meantime. Kafka is later seen thinking back on his meeting with Mina. Right now, he and Reno are in a hospital. Reno tells Kafka that he looked awesome during their altercation with the Yoju and thanks him for saving him. Kafka must apply to the Defense Corps, he urges. Kafka appreciates Reno's words of support. He intends to apply for a job shortly. Kafka is suddenly confronted by a bug-like kaiju that pierces his mouth. When Kafka feels unwell, Reno comes to see how he is. Kafka's kaiju-like apparition startles Reno. Reno is reassured by Kafka that it's not just any old kaiju, but him. Unexpectedly, Reno and Kafka are discovered by an elderly man. He intends to make a Defense Corps call. Kafka is told by Reno to leave the hospital right now. Then, a flashback featuring Mina and Kafka appears. Kafka elucidates the significance of attacking a kaiju's legs first. Concurrently, Mina confides in Kafka that she is terrified of facing a beast larger than herself. Kafka assures Mina that he will always be there for her in times of need. As Mina gets out of the water, someone tells her that a kaiju has made its way to the hospital. As the episode comes to an end, Mina is preparing to look into the occurrence with her team.